All right, good morning, third graders. This morning we are going to start your first chapter book in class to listen to. It's called Snot Stew. So Snot Stew is the
title.
The title. And this whole thing with the picture and everything of a book is called the cover. Let's look at the cover. Look at the title. Who has some ideas about what this book might be about? Coy.
He stole the bone.
Okay, maybe he stole the bone. Maybe the cat stole the bone. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
He's angry.
He's angry. How do you know that? The cover doesn't even mean face. Elliot.
The dog's a bully.
Maybe the dog is a bully. Kenna?
Maybe he's jealous.
Maybe he's jealous. Ooh, good use of personality words here. Yes, Ivan.
Maybe the dog was being mean to them, so the cats paid back.
Oh, we're getting some plot here. Maybe there's some payback. Nolan.
Maybe they're the bullies and he's just mad.
Maybe they're the bullies. He's mad at them. Ooh, lots of different ideas, right? What about Snot Stew? What do you think that will mean? Snot Stew. Because titles usually show up somewhere in the book, right? Snot Stew.
He scares the snot out of him to make a whole stew.
He makes so much snot he scares out of him, makes a stew. Well, that's an interesting idea. We'll have to read the book and see if it's in there, right? We're going to start with chapter 1. You guys know what you just did?
What?
You did a word, you described what you saw. You predicted. That's a really big word, isn't it? You predicted what's going to happen in the book. That's taking a guess at what's going to happen in the book by looking at titles or looking at pictures. Let's make sure our pillows are underneath us and not on top of us. Chapter 1. I'll show you the pictures when they come, okay? Chapter 1. It doesn't have a title. It just says chapter 1. Our mama was the best mama in the whole wide world. She did all sorts of stuff for us. She gave us milk so we would grow to be big and strong. And she gave us baths with her tongue, which was dry and rough, but it felt good anyway. When we got older, she quit giving us milk and caught mice for us. Mice are about the yummiest thing in the whole world. Do you think that?
No.
I'm not a big fan of eating mice either. They're made up of all sorts of good, healthy things. Make sure you're over here sitting, please. Like meat and bones with lots of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They taste real good, and they're fun to play with, too. What he's talking about, it's fun to play with what?
Bones.
The mice, and the mice are their food. So they play with their food. Do you get to play with your food?
No.
Don't play with your food, Mama always said. Unless it's a mouse, then it's okay. She'd bring the mice back to our house, a soft pile of hay in a big wooden box in the barn. Mama said it was an old ice box. Let's stop for a minute. What have we just read? We read that they eat what?
Mice.
Mice? How do they get a bath? Their mama gives it to them? So who's telling us a story?
The kids.
Is it kids?
Kittens.
It's kittens, isn't it? How do we know that? We use those two clues, the mice and the tongue bath. Do you as humans get tongue baths?
No.
Do you get mice? No. So we knew it couldn't have been humans, right? And then it tells us, usually cats don't live in ice boxes. But this one had been left in the Burke's barn for so long that a hole had rotted in the side. We used the hole as our door. And nobody ever moved the ice box, so it was the perfect place for a home. Besides, Mama said, it's warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Mama made us watch while she gave herself a bath. She said that we would need to learn how to take a bath by ourselves before too long. We didn't know what she meant, not until the day she came home and told us she was what?
Leaving?
Good job. You figured that out because she was making them do things on their own, didn't you? She came home and told us she was leaving. We all laughed and climbed over each other and tumbled and swatted as we rushed to greet her at the door to get the mouse she brought. Only this time, there was no mouse. "I'm leaving," Mama said flatly. We laughed again. Chris jumped on Mama's back so she would play with him. But she didn't play. She swatted him real hard and knocked him rolling against the side of our house. "I'll be away for a few days, and when I come back, you must be" what?
There.
What does she want them to be?
Gone.
She wants them to be, good job, gone. "But why, Mama?" we all mouthed at once. "This is our house." "This is my house," Mama answered. "I'm going to have another family, and I need my home for raising my babies. You're old enough and big enough to be out on your own." "But Mama," we moaned. "I've taught you how to catch mice. I've taught you how to take a bath. I've warned you about people and how you can't trust them and how it's best to stay away from them. I've told you about Butch, the Burke's dog, and how mean and nasty he is, and how he would just love to eat a soft, juicy kitten." Are we seeing a dog? Oh, I want the same dog. "I've taught you all that I can. It's time for you to grow up and leave home." Then she turned and squeezed out the door. We all meowed and begged for her to come back. She didn't. After a while, we talked it over and decided that Mama was only teasing us and that she really would come back because she'd always taken care of us. The next morning, Mama wasn't back. We meowed louder that day, meowed and meowed and meowed. Only Mama never came with our mouse. She never came to give us a bath. "I've had it." Chris meowed on the second morning Mama was gone. He swished his tail in big circles and he looked out the hole in the side of our icebox. "I'm hungry. I can catch my own mouse." Then he left. That afternoon, Tiffany left too. She wasn't as sure of herself as Chris, but she was just as hungry. Then Jeff left that night, and so did Lisa. Toby and I were the only ones who stayed. So how many kittens were there in all? Let's count them. Who was the first one to leave? Remember? Chris. And then that afternoon, Tiffany left. And then Jeff left, and so did Lisa. So that's 4 that left. And it said only Toby and I. Do we know who I is yet? We don't know the name yet. We'll have to pay attention and listen for that. So there were 4 that left and 2 that stayed. That means you got 4 plus 2 equals
6.
How many? 6. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Here's the picture. Well, who's the big cat leaving? Mama. And then let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many were there? 6 kittens. And that kind of gives you a little picture of what they were living in, doesn't it? Okay. So there were 6 kittens. How many are left, though? 2. Toby and I. We don't know what I's name is yet. We cried and meowed all night. The next morning we cried and meowed even more. I don't ever remember being so hungry or so lonely. I guess Mama really isn't coming back, I told Toby. He buried his face in his paws. No, she isn't, he finally meowed. He had such a sad look on his face, I could hardly stand it. So I jumped on his back, hoping that a little romp would make him feel better. Only Toby didn't want to play. He just lay there and let me bite his ears. What are we gonna do, Kiki? He moaned. So who's I's name?
Kiki.
Kiki. So we got who's left? Toby and
Kiki.
I lay down beside him. I swished my tail against his ear. I guess we have to grow up, I meowed. I guess we have to leave home or we'll starve. We cried and meowed some more. Did they want to leave home?
No.
But before we could leave, a terrible thing happened. Think in your mind, what could be that terrible thing?
A person came and moved the icebox.
Okay, a person came.
Or
Patrick.
a dog came.
Maybe a dog came. Oh. Nolan.
An animal maybe pushed the box.
Oh. So you guys are all thinking something happened. Something came and maybe pushed over their house or something like that. Let's see. Our house began to rock. Look at that! You guys did good predicting, didn't you? It creaked and moaned. The walls lifted on one side, then the other. All at once, the whole side of our house was gone. Light flooded in. Toby and I froze. We huddled together, pressing ourselves as hard as we could against each other for safety. There was a loud boom. Our house fell over, and we were left out in the open, on the floor of the big barn. And then it's time for chapter 2, which you will read tomorrow with Mrs. Otley. Let's think for a second. What happened in this chapter? Were there lots of things that happened?
Yeah.
Okay, think to yourself, what's one thing that happened? And then I'm going to ask you to share one thing that happened in this chapter. What's one thing that happened? Let's see. Let's go with Allie. What's one thing that happened? Mama left. Does everybody agree? Did Mama leave?
Yeah.
Yes. Please put your pillow underneath your head. What else happened? Nolan?
Their house got torn apart.
Their house got torn apart and flipped over. What happened first? Did the house get torn apart and flipped over, or did Mama leave? Which one of those happened first?
Mama left.
Mama left. We're putting things in order, aren't we? Ivan, give me another thing that happened.
All kittens left except Toby and Kiki.
The 4 kittens left and Toby and Kiki had stayed. Did that happen before or after Mama left?
After.
After Mama left. All right, what you guys just did, do you know what you just did? The fancy word for what you just did right there?
Prescribed.
Oh, we predicted a couple of times, but what did we do just there? We put stuff in order. You know what the fancy word for that is?
Scribe.
It starts with an S. C. Anyone know? Good job. We sequence stuff. And that's exactly what you are going to do today. So I can see if you were listening to the story and if you were paying attention, we just discussed things, the order things went in the story. Your job, when you get each of these pieces of paper, can you see the piece of paper? Are you looking upright at the piece of paper so you can see it? There's boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're blank, aren't they? Then there's 7 events that happen in the story down here. You guys got some of them. Your job will be to cut them out and to put them in order. So the first thing that happens, it would probably go on number 1. And the last thing that happens would go on number 7. And you should put your name on the line that says name. What questions are there about what you're supposed to do here? Step 1, you cut them out. Step 2, you paste them on in order. Do you think you guys can handle that?
Yeah.
I think you can too. All right. Why don't you pass one around, and once you get one, you can walk to your desk and work on it.